Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. I am so excited to be streaming for the first time ever. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Zael the Nightblade, and I am a content creator primarily on TikTok and YouTube Shorts. So, this is my first time doing some live streaming. And for my content, I primarily make Final Fantasy 14 tips and advice for new players, but I also dive into some other tips and advice for Final Fantasy 14 and play other games such as Stardew Valley and some other things on my Steam Deck. I'm also a full time stay at home mom, so it is something where I usually do most of my gaming at nighttime when my child has gone to sleep for the night or at some point when she is napping. So, it's something where I don't get to do a whole ton of gaming all the time and just get to enjoy it more at a leisurely manner. Before I get started doing today's content, which is mostly going to be focused on my main character in Final Fantasy 14, I do want to talk about a few things. So, today is going to be mainly talking about or going into Final Fantasy 14 on my main character. Sunday, I'm going to be playing a new character in Final Fantasy 14. I'm going to make an alt character. And with that alt character, very specifically want to go through and give some tips and advice for newer players as I'm going through it. I really wanted to introduce this day because I feel like on Fridays, with it being my main character and my main character being in Dawn Trail, that's not quite as Sprout friendly. And I know most of my followers follow me for Sprout content. So I want to make sure I have a day where it is specifically dedicated to those Sprouts and you can still get to enjoy some of that time. On Tuesdays, I also know some of you follow me for my Steam Deck content or my Stardew Valley content or some of my other game content. Like I've created a video that was Animal Crossing the other day, for instance. So Tuesday's going to be my variety day. That one's going to be a little bit more up in the air and testing and feeling some different things out. And I know that this is not typical of a streamer to do. And the reason I'm doing it this way is just because so much of my content is different from one another. And I really want to see, what do you want to see from me? So that's why we're going to be testing and feeling some different things. Now, as far as today goes, and it being my Final Fantasy 14 main character, and the fact that this is my launch stream, I do want to note that I'm not going to do any Dawn Trail MSQ. I haven't done the 7.4 MSQ. I intended on that being something I do during a stream one day. It's not going to be today, though, because I want today to still feel welcoming for Sprouts. So I'm not going to do any 7.4 MSQ or unlocking the current raid tier or anything like that. I'm going to just stick with some content that's hopefully a little less spoilery for our Sprouts. Also, I want to know I'm just streaming to YouTube and Kick. I know most of my followers are on TikTok at the moment. And I know TikTok does have a way to go live. I just know their algorithm is very, very, very picky about things. And I know Twitch has gotten very, very picky about things lately. So that's why I'm not multi-streaming to those two platforms at the moment. But once I do some research and make sure everything is good and clear, I will probably add those to the future. Some rules I have, they're pretty basic rules. Just be kind and respectful. Don't harass, bully, hate speech, none of that stuff. In general, try to keep it PG-13. I do want to note for those of you who are parents like me, I do cuss. It happens. I try to keep it occasional, though. So if you do happen to have kids around and you want to shield them from cussing, maybe pop in some earbuds or something because a curse word might slip out every now and then. But I will keep it so that it's not excessive. But overall, the chat should be PG-13. Keep the language appropriate. No NSFW or anything like that. No spam or self-promotion. Respect people's boundaries. Another thing, please don't discuss spoilers. Now, I understand that when I typically do my Final Fantasy 14 content on my main character, Like, you could probably talk about content up to where I'm at in the chat, and that be okay. Um, but, like, on my Sprout Day, please don't be talking about some of the spoilers that are ahead of where that character is at MSQ, because the whole purpose of that day is for it to be welcoming to Sprouts. So, uh, if you want to talk about spoilers, use the spoiler warnings, keep it vague. Another alternative is you could join the Discord server. I do have a channel that you could opt into for spoiler discussions, and it is completely optional. So those that are Sprouts that join it, if they don't want to opt in for the spoilers, they just won't see the conversation happening in that channel. So if you want to talk about spoilers, you could do it much more freely in my spoilers channel on Discord. Another thing, please don't backseat while I'm gaming. I like to game the way that I like to game. And there are some times that I will do something wrong, and either I'm not doing it on purpose, but there are plenty of times where I do something wrong and it is 100% intentional to create a talking point. But I will totally ask for help when I need help. Like, if I notice that I'm struggling, I will know that I'm struggling. That I will ask. I, I, I used to teach, and I know I can be stubborn about asking for help, but I will try to be good and ask for help because I know so much of the community just wants to help. Please keep it English only, just to help me moderate, because I'm solo moderating at the moment. And in the future, if I ever do get moderators, we'll need to keep it to languages that they can moderate well, listen to the mods, aka right now me, and just have fun. There are also additional rules for Kick and YouTube specifically, but you could check out the Google Doc that I have. If you type in, I think it's !rules, I think it will go through and talk about all that stuff. All right, so that takes care of the boring stuff. Thank goodness. I used to teach, and I used to have to cover syllabus, and it was like the worst day, because I would have to talk for pretty much at least 15, 20 minutes on the syllabus. I would talk as fast as I possibly could, and I think 15 minutes was the fastest I ever covered the syllabus, and I hated it so much. All right, let's get into Final Fantasy XIV, which is the actual thing I want to be doing. Let me change my stream titles so that we can see that I am done with the boring stuff. For anybody that is, let's see, it says opening night of my stream. Change it to say no MSQ, that way that could be seen. Change it on YouTube and Kick both, so that takes me a second. There we go. All right, got those tiles changed up, and we are now in Final Fantasy XIV with my lovely main character. I'm going to do a little bit of a twirl just to show off her crafting glam a little bit here. All right, so I'm currently in my free company house. I'm just going to kind of start with doing what I do from my day-to-day. When I do have a chance to log on to the game, it's not super common that I get to log on, just because this game is harder for me to play when my child's around as compared to, like, Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing's really easy with her. And then by the time she goes down, I'm typically a little too burnt out. I can notice my VTuber is lagging here. Give me just a second to see. Okay. Got that pulled up. Okay. Now she seems to be working a little bit better. Well, maybe. She might just be a little bit laggy here for a minute. Unfortunately, I'm going to try minimizing my streams, or my streamer dashboards. I might close out of my streamer dashboards. Let's see. Oh, hey, actually, she might not be as laggy as what I think she is. Well, we'll live and learn. So, back to my day today. I like to shout at my FC members. I do have chat bubbles enabled, but I'm zoomed in so close that you can't see that I just shouted at one of my FC members. But I like to yell at them when they log in. So, what I do, I am a free company leader. One of the things that I have to do is I tend to our free company submarines. And the submarines, so for those of you who are not familiar with the workshop, there is a lot to it. So I'm going to try to keep as simple, basic as possible. Schematic board gives you patterns for making different things. Fabrication station likes to make a whole bunch of things. And the voyage control panel is honestly in a way similar to how we have retainers and how I talked about the retainer series and all that stuff, like how you send out your retainers for various missions and things like that. It's very similar in idea to it, but there's a lot more complex stuff that goes into it, because as opposed to having the gear like what we have as players, our submarines and our airships have parts and components, and so you have to build them. And when you think about a submarine or an airship, they are absolutely massive, right? So typically, that's why this is tied behind the FCs. Typically, to build those, you would set it up as a free company project and have to build these parts and components as a free company. There are some people that are like me, that are crazy. And I could say that because I'm a crazy person who does this. Some people will build all the parts themselves and then tend to the submarines and airships. The reason I don't send the airships out is the airships are tied to a Realm Reborn, and submarines are tied to a Heavensward and Onward. And so the Heavensward Onward stuff just typically is more valuable than the Realm Reborn stuff, just because the Realm Reborn stuff has been out for a while, and the airships just don't get updated anymore. Whereas the submarines, there are constant updates to them. You can see on my screen that there's some of them that are level 122. They are not at level cap at the moment, because what I do with them is what I need them for doesn't require level cap. So there's that. And I'm distracted for a second here. Let me refresh my YouTube studio, because I have it open to the side and I noticed that it was still on. Okay, I wanted to make 100% sure that YouTube had actually moved over to my gaming screen, because I noticed that it was still on the just talking screen, which was just my character, and I was like, no, that's not what we're supposed to be seeing here. What I do, I send them out on the same thing every single day, and they just get a few materials for me. And unlike the retainers, you do have to repair your submarines, much more like with your own armor and gear. You do have to make sure it stays repaired. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So what I was telling chat earlier is that though I am working on my main character today, I am not going to be doing 7.4 MSQ, which I specifically saved for streaming. I'm just going to do that in a future stream, as well as the new raid tier, because I want today to be as open to any one of my viewer base as possible. And I know a lot of viewers are sprouts, so I was like, especially since this is opening stream day, I didn't want to be like, guess what? I'm doing new 7.4 MSQ and completely spoiling a whole bunch of stuff for people. So I'm going to be focusing on some of the things I do in my day to day, maybe doing a few things to level that's outside of MSQ and things like that. Right now I am tending to my free company submarines, which as a free company leader, something that I do. Not all the time is it something that the free company leader does. Depending on free company permissions, like it could be opened up to anybody in the free company. It typically isn't, though. It's typically some sort of leadership role is typically dealing with the submarines and the airships. Go, little submarine, go. And how these operate, so as you can see after this cutscene, my character's still going to be in a nice cozy room, and after I leave this room, I am not in one of these submarines. I am just telling it where to go and what, like, I'm like, go to these locations and grab some different things for me, like whatever you can find. I'm going to skip the cutscene because it's kind of getting old watching this cutscene over and over and over again. Especially when you watch it 4 times a day. It's like, it's just a submarine going out. You tend to be like, no, I'm going to skip this cutscene. And yes, I do have the automatically skip cutscene thing set. That doesn't include the submarines. But they are ran by the mammoths. You put some mammoths in there, and they control the submarines and everything. You tell them where to go, and they figure it out from there. And hopefully everything comes back well, and they bring back all kinds of goodies and great stuff for you. At least that is what the dream is. So that takes care of that daily thing. Next thing I want to do, I have a Wondrous Tales book that's expired. I want to get a new one. And for those of you, if you've missed my video talking about Wondrous Tales is something that you can pick up weekly after Heavensward. And it is something that you probably want to do every week. It doesn't matter which job you pick it up as, but it does matter what job you turn it in as. Because, for instance, with my character, I am not to level cap on absolutely everything. So I probably want to turn it in on something that's not level cap. If you don't finish it like what I just did there, I handed over the journal and she lectured me saying, hey, you didn't finish this. What's wrong with you? Why didn't you finish this? I want to hear about your adventures. All right, picked that up. I like to pick that up as early in the week as I possibly can. As I said earlier, I don't get to play Final Fantasy XIV a whole ton during the week because of kiddo and everything. So, this is maybe my second time playing this week. Maybe? I honestly can't remember. All the days start to blur together after a while. But I like to pick that up first because especially if I'm going to be running any instances or anything like that, sometimes what I happen to be running is something that I can check off. It's like, for instance, oh, hey, awesome. So I picked it up and I'm probably going to be running a frontline at some point during all of this. So having that available already and having it ready to go is absolutely wonderful to have. So what I'm doing right now is I am picking up my society quests. And the reason I'm wanting to do my society quests is because particularly in Shadowbringers onwards, they can give a pretty good amount of experience each day. And this one, it does matter what job you pick it up as because you cannot progress with these quests on a different job. They really started getting big on that in Shadowbringers, saying, hey, you could pick this up on, like in this case, it's 90 plus. It's going to sink everything downward. But we're going to say whatever you picked it up as, you have to do these quests as. In case any of you are early on in the game and we're thinking, oh, hey, maybe one of these days I will get away from those quests where you have to pick something up and run with it clear across the map. No. No, you haven't. They try to get a little bit better with it and shorten the distance at least a little bit for you, but you still have boxes to carry for people. It doesn't matter how popular you get. Yeah, that is a great way to level healers and tanks, especially if you get tank-anxiety or heal-anxiety when it comes to instances and dungeons and such. Like, it totally makes sense to level those with this. Another way I would do it, particularly for Shadowbringers onwards, is to use them in your shared fates. Join up with a party finder and run it that way. Like, I think in Endwalker, that was how I leveled White Mage. I don't necessarily have heal anxiety, but I don't really care for playing White Mage. I couldn't explain why I don't like leveling White Mage. I just don't. For some reason, I just don't. I much prefer Sage, even though I know they're basically the same job, with the exception that Sage does shielding and White Mage does pure healing. But yeah, I prefer Sage over White Mage, and as far as pure healing goes, I prefer Astro. Now, I will say I haven't played Astro since Dawn Trail launched because I know they've reworked it yet again. And that gives me anxiety. Like being like, I gotta relearn this job yet again. It's kind of like that one in Monk. They just give me anxiety. Yeah, trusts are definitely a good way to get over anxiety. I feel like for me, what helped me get over my healing anxiety when I read with trusts was I would run ahead as the healer and pull the next group, and I kept trying to over pull for that NPC tank. Yeah, Monk has a tendency to get reworked constantly. It's kind of frustrating. I feel like I like fast-paced jobs, and I can never get into Monk because I feel like every other time I go to play it, which is once in a blue moon, it's been reworked and just has completely different rotation again. And I'm just like, nope, I'm not going to relearn this job every time I go to play it. It probably has been a hot minute since it's been reworked, but it's also been a hot minute since I'm felt any desire to play Monk because of how much it got reworked when I first started playing. But yeah, I definitely get the healing anxiety and the tanking anxiety. I feel like for me, the tanking anxiety was even worse than the healing anxiety because I came over from World of Warcraft, and you had to know those dungeons inwards and outwards as a tank, I felt like, particularly in Cataclysm. I just, I could not join this game and convince myself to play tank. And especially after getting most of my DPS the level cap, and after a while of running with Trust, I finally got more comfortable with it, particularly with Warrior. My main class, it really depends on the content that I am playing. Most of the time, though, right now, my main class is Viper. Last expansion, it was Ninja, and yet another one that got reworked for this expansion, so I haven't picked it up since the expansion dropped, and I'm anxious about it. But I gotta be truthful, I absolutely hate playing melee DPS in dungeons. I hate it with a passion. I can't do it. I don't know why. So when it comes to dungeons, I actually got the confidence with healing, and I run as Sage for dungeons, and I love it. I play very aggressively. I'm a very angry Sage when it comes to dungeons, and especially if you get used to your keybinds with having T, switching your target and having your focus target on everything, it makes playing an aggressive healer so much easier. But I want to ask, what's your main class? Yeah, melee and low-level content too. It's so rough. It's ugh. I feel like them, and then like I felt like warrior below level 60 something was rough. Oh, Dragoon is a good one. This character actually started off as Lancer up until level 10, and then she picked up Rogue. And then this was a preferred server when I first started. So I was able to simultaneously level Dragoon and Ninja. Pretty much all the way up to Shadowbringers, and I picked up Dancer and love Dancer. I feel like it is I feel like it's just the least stressful job, and on top of that, it's so pretty. All of its abilities are just so beautiful. And I feel like Astrologian could be on the same par as Dancer as far as beauty goes, but it comes with a lot of stress. So, and Dancer has the oh crap dash. That's what I call Anavon, is the oh crap dash. Like, oh crap, I am in this AoE. I am just going to dash away from it and really hope I didn't get snapshotted by what was happening. Oh, I almost flew away and went on to another society. That would have been bad of me to do. When you're doing society quests, be careful, because they get sneaky when you're ready to go to the next thing. I'm going to rank up from Honored, finally. I'm only a little behind when it comes to this society. I can't remember how long the society has been out, but it's been out for a hot minute, and I've been able to do it for a while, and I've just been really far behind. All right, I am going to watch the cutscene later. I'm going to skip the cutscene to try to keep spoilers as little as possible. For anybody who is unsure of how you can watch cutscenes like that later, if you ever accidentally skip a cutscene, or if you start skipping cutscenes and just regret it later on or something like that, you can go to an inn room, or some people put it in their housing. Like for my free company, I put it in my free company house. You can go to the Unending Journey item, and like in the Gridania Hotel, for instance, or the Gridania Inn, not hotel, the inn. If you go into your inn room, all the way up against the window, you can talk to, or you could go to that table. I have unlocked the crafting society for Dawn Trail, but I'm very far behind on that one too. And if they have come out with the Gatherer one, that should tell you how far behind I am, because I'm like, wait, they've come out with the Gathering one. Like, honestly, I'd be shocked if they hadn't came out with the Gathering one. Like, I'd be like, wait, why aren't you guys coming out with the Gathering one? I haven't unlocked that one yet, because yeah. I need to catch up so bad. Let's see. Oh, of course it was all the way back in 7.3. That's how far behind I am. Yeah, I do like a lot of the societies. It does make me a little, like, mildly sad that I'm skipping right now, but I also know that I can come back to those later. Whoops. Here's my destination. But I still feel like there's still just that special place in my heart for the Stormblood societies. Because I like the little Namazu. They're cute. And on top of that, at the end of their allied quest, getting the ability to throw gil at everybody and shower them all with the gil. I'm just like, that's ultimate goals in this game, man. Being able to shower everybody with gil. Yes, they were a great society too. And I remember I did theirs on so many characters because I wanted the false nails so badly. And all of my characters are female, and I don't like wearing gloves on my characters. I'm like, oh wow, those false nails, they're so much shorter than the really long ferocious nails that you get from Gold Saucer. I would prefer for them to be nice and short, and the fake nails or the false nails are just so great. And so I went through on so many characters and unlocked the false nails. And then they're like, well, guess what? We're going to create all these different variations of the false nails that are so much easier to get. And I'm like, I mean, at least they weren't super hard to get with the Anata Beast tribe, but I was still like, really? I had to work on getting all this rep just for you guys to release it with PvP marks and all of that stuff when I think some of my alt characters have like 5 or 6 jobs up to level 90. And that was when Endwalker was current, and they were doing so many front lines. So I was like, I would have liked to have gotten them with those marks. Not that I don't love the Anata. Frontline is actually pretty nice as far as PvP goes, in my opinion. It can get frustrating if you're not 100% sure what's going on, but if you remind yourself that most people don't know what's going on, then it's okay. Because a lot of people really don't know what's going on when it comes to frontline. I'm actually going to go ahead and start my frontline queue now, so that way we can see me do some frontline. Another reason I like frontline is because you really only have to worry about getting decent on one job as far as PvP goes, as opposed to trying to be good on every single job. Because, like, I'm going to go in as Reaper, and I'm going to get my experience as Reaper, but I'll be honest with you, I have no idea how to play Reaper in PvP. I think I tried it once, like 3 years ago. I don't remember anything from it. And I prefer playing Summoner in PvP. I used to love playing Dancer, but then they did the PvP rework back during Endwalker. And I didn't care for the rework that was done on Dancer, so I swapped to Summoner. And it can be fun. There are times that it could be miserable, but regardless of how well your team does in frontline, you're still going to get a huge chunk of experience. So, like, right now, looking at my tiny little experience bar down here in the corner, actually, I'm just going to pull up my character classes and jobs. So I'm about halfway through 92 at the moment. I would be shocked if I didn't hit 93 with this frontline. Or at the very least came, like, really, really super close. And the other nice thing about Frontline is there are typically so many people in Frontline that no one's going to know whether it goes well or not. Like, they're not going to know. The only time they're going to know is if you just really decide you don't care and like sit in base or something. Like it's really hard for people to notice. Like I had a friend that during frontline, literally he and a person on the enemy team spent the entire time just hugging each other, and nobody noticed. No one. So no one called him out for anything. Alright, so I'm switching to Summoner here, and I'm gonna get all of that experience on Reaper just because I started this as Reaper. That's what I went in as, so it doesn't matter what job you switch to when you go in. You're gonna get all that experience when you go out on whatever job you went in as. Yeah, there's so many people. Oh, and this is the new map, so that makes it even better. I have no idea what goes on in this map. I've done it once. Yeah, this is a fantastic way to level. So this is another way to get around your tank and healing anxiety, is to queue in as a tank or a healer into frontline and swap to whatever job you want. Okay. Oh yeah, another tip for frontline. Stay with other people for the most part. That's another trick for making sure that no one really notices if you are doing terrible. Hey, I forgot that thing down there. Yeah, I accomplished 0% of anything and immediately died. And no one that's in this front line, unless they are watching this stream critically, is going to know about it because they don't care. Yeah, frontline can get really noisy because there's so much that's happening. Let me see. There we go. I'll turn my volume down so that way hopefully the future ones are a little less noisy. So one thing I do remember from this map is that it's pretty much you stand on each of the corners of the shape and try to claim these. And that's one of the main ways that you get points. You also get points by taking out people on the enemy team. I had a good friend give me this because I haven't done any crafting on the moon. I've been so horrible about the moon. I need to do more on the moon and I've done none of it. Because it looks so cute and fun. I could also see where it would get old after a while, because like I did Diadem during Shadowbringers when that was current, and I got competitive with it and decided that I wanted to rank up during the last season, and yeah, the Diadem. But I decided I wanted to do the last season, and I basically lived in the Diadem. It was... It was kind of crazy and ridiculous how bad the Diadem... Like, there was so much chat that was going on in the Diadem that I wish I could unsee. Well, the good thing about me having no idea about what's going on this map is It looks like most of my team has no idea what's going on either, which is why, like, at the very top of my screen, you can see the scoreboard. And my team is not doing so hot. I am on the Adders team. We're doing pretty bad. But that doesn't mean that we're completely out of it, because I have totally seen games where, at this point of the game, where it's like, oh, the other two teams have decided that they don't care about us anymore. And then, because they forgot, there's the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful comeback. Oh, that one's already cleaned. Another tip as far as frontline goes, so this bar that I'm attacking right here, that little icon that was next to his name just changed. What the icon indicates is a battle high. And battle high means that you're going to hit harder than other people. So this monk has no icon next to his name. He has absolutely no battle high. This ninja has, at least, oh, there he is, has a small little blue mark. That means he has just battle high 1, which is the exact same thing that I have right now. I have a slight buff to my damage. And then there's a green icon, which is this LA that's on my menu, has an extra buff to damage. Oh, and also not just damage, but also to any healing that's received. You can go all the way up to battle high 5. And you can keep track of your battle high with this bar right here. And battle high 1 hits when you get 20. And then battle high 2 is at 40, battle high 3 is at 60, then 80 and 100. You get 2 points per kill, or 2 points per assist, and 10 points per kill. Getting a kill in frontline though, like when you have 24, like potentially 24 other people that are bashing in on the same person, or even 48 people bashing on the same person because the other team could be helping you, it gets hard to get a final hit. Oh, let's see. Oh, this poor samurai. Wrong place at the wrong time. Another thing that can be nice about frontline is sometimes you will have someone on your team that is like really super coordinated. Kind of like what you might see in like a hunt train, where someone on the hunt train will call out where to go next. It's a less coordinated version, but you will see... I keep missing those. I think it was good buffs. Yeah, there's a decent amount to it, but I felt like to really learn it, I had to just dive in and give it a try. And overall, it's massive chaos. And it can be interesting. Oh, okay. Apparently we're running. We're not going to that one, I guess. Okay. So, you may have noticed that I like keeping my map open a lot of the time. And the reason I'm keeping my map open is because of little icons like this one is telling me that here is a B rank to obtain. The diamond indicates an S rank. and then we have, or an A rank, and we haven't seen an S rank come up yet, but kind of like with your hunt marks, the B rank is not worth as much as an A rank, and A rank is not worth as much as an S rank. But anything is better than nothing. So sometimes getting a bunch of B ranks can still be really, really good for your team. Ah, that's why. Like I said earlier, look at the scoreboard and my team is now winning, and it's because the other two teams have just decided that they don't like each other. They don't care about my team anymore. Which just, it happens. It totally just happens. And now I'm just gonna throw a limit break on all of them over here. Ah, I was not paying attention at all to my health bar whatsoever. And so my icon that was over here, I had actually gotten up to a battle high 4, so I was about 80 points. When you die, you lose half of your points, so I'm down to a battle high 2. So like even if I was battle high 5 and had 100 points, I could go all the way back down to battle high 2. Whoops, I just hit a whole bunch of buttons. I must have accidentally hit the Windows button. Down to battle high 1. Oh well. It is what it is. Yeah, PvP is definitely one of those ones that I am constantly either opening up the map, like all the time just to check where I'm going, or it's something where I like open it and like with my larger monitor drag it over to the side somewhere. Since I'm not healing, I don't have to worry as much about my teammates because it's not like I can heal them anyway. It does give you a bar over to the side to let you know the claiming timer and stuff on this one, it looks like. Some of the user interface does change from map to map, but in general, when things change up and you're like, oh man, I've never done this map before, so long as you stay with the crowd, you're probably gonna be fine. As I said, it's going to be chaos no matter what. And the good thing about PvP, this is my first time popping at this map, but you get an, excuse my language, but you get an oh shit button. Which means, oh shit, I'm taking a lot of damage right now, let me throw up this shield and hope I don't die. Ah, I was too late with that. Sometimes they'll back off when they see that shield come up, but if you've got a ton of people that are wailing away at you, that button unfortunately is probably not going to deter them. They're probably going to be so dang determined to get you at that point that they'll just get you. Okay, that's why nothing's happening. I died. PvP just... it gets crazy enough that sometimes it will be that way where you're just trying to do all these different abilities and move around and stuff, and then it's just like, oh, wait a minute. What happened? Oh, I died. That's what happened. And that's what happens when I'm just not even looking at my screen. I probably should try to pay attention since it is neck and neck, and I don't, like, because my death will just give the enemy team numbers, so I probably don't want to be doing that. they were playing it pretty smart on that one. They were trying to play with the high ground there, which is what I was doing at first until I did my freak jump there. And my freak jump took me into melee range of there and gave me this advantage of being on the same ground as them. And that's also what happens when two teams decide to go at it and ignore another team, because the Flames ended up winning that one. At the end, you do get this chart that's at the end, but most people are running PvP just to get their daily experience for their job. So most people don't end up looking at this because they generally don't care. Some people will look at it just as kind of gauge things for themselves and be like, okay, am I getting better? Am I improving at this? But from my experience, most people, as I said when I went in, most people do not stress it so much. Very rarely, like I've been doing a lot of frontline over the last few years. It's not very often that I come across someone who is salty, who is mean about PvP. And typically there will be other people in the chat saying, hey, it's not that serious. Let's maybe dial it back a little bit. Like, we're talking about frontline. But then the one that would probably be more toxic is your crystalline conflict. But they don't have regular chat available on that one. You could only use their prefixed commands for the chat anyway. So there, you're not going to have people talking super smack or anything like that. And looking at Reaper, I'm now 93 with Reaper. So I went from less than half a level of 92 on Reaper to being 93 on Reaper with that single front line. So it is such a good amount of experience that you get from it, from something that it definitely comes off as intimidating. Like, it took me forever to go into a front line. And I spent so many front lines being anxious and worried that people were judging me. And finally, after a while, even when I felt like I got pretty decent at frontline, to realize, hey, no one cares. There's so many people. Like, no one's going to be that stressed out about your frontline performance, because if they're stressing out about anyone's frontline performance, they're probably stressing out about their own frontline performance if they care that much. But so many people just do not care about it that much at all. And they are just there to get their experience. Just like I was in that case. Like, I didn't care about how much ever. Yes, exactly. Frontlines is just so chill. And I have done Crystalline Conflict. And there was even a time where I was trying to rank up in Crystalline Conflict. And still, I'd go into PvP, and yeah, it was just chill. I didn't care how other people did, and other people didn't care how I did. They didn't care that I had Battle High 5, and when I'm playing, I get impressed when other people have High 5, but I also don't get upset when people have no Battle High at all, because that's just the way that Frontlines goes. There's so many people, it's just mass chaos. And like, sometimes you will have the person that is there that is just going to constantly bully the summoner. And there are other games where they forget that summoner has Bahamut that they're going to summon out to make everybody explode, and just constantly let that summoner summon Bahamut and make them all explode. Like, no two frontline matches are going to go the same. They're not all going to go well. And that's not within anyone's control. And it's so chill as far as PvP goes. And that huge chunk of experience is definitely worth it when it comes to leveling those alt jobs when you don't have that MSQ there. Like, so much experience. Like, one of the main ways, like, because you'll see I have Gunbreaker all the way up to 100. I did a lot of frontline as Gunbreaker and swapped the summoner as soon as I got in. Don't get me wrong, I do like Gunbreaker. I think I could go into a dungeon and be fine tanking as Gunbreaker. It was just something that I needed something chill so that I wasn't worrying about, oh, hey, what if my child starts crying in the middle of this dungeon or anything like that? It's like, well, if they start crying in the middle of frontline, more than likely no one's going to care if I go AFK for a minute. Like, it'll be okay. Whereas in a dungeon, they're not going to be happy if the tank decides, hey, I have to go AFK for like 5 minutes here. Be like, we need you to tank this boss. Okay, so that takes care of quite a bit of leveling with Reaper. And I think Gunbreaker is an excellent, like, honestly, any tank, I feel like, for any of, like, those deep dungeons, trying to solo them, I feel like they can be good. I think the hardest thing about them is trying to meet those DPS checks on those bosses, because tanks just don't do as much damage as a DPS does. And DPS just can't take as much damage as a tank can. Like, there's just so many drawbacks when you're trying to solo in something like Eureka Orthos. Like, it's so rough. But I do think Gunbreaker is a good one and a fun one. Like, I like Gunbreaker a lot. It was my first tank. Yes, I do feel like the Final Fantasy community is really good at recognizing that real life is totally a thing. Like, I remember so many dungeons where I remember it was a dungeon that I was healing my husband. My husband's a tank, so it was one of our DPS. But they were like, I have cat aggro, tank, save me! And it was like every other pull that they had cat aggro. And we're like, don't worry, we got you! And I was like, don't worry, I'll keep you healed. I'll keep you alive. You will not die to that cat on my watch. And because their cat just kept wanting to start stuff constantly throughout that dungeon. I think they said at one point their cat decided to take over the game and just walk all over their keyboard. It was pretty fantastic. Just all the chaos that ensued just from their cat. Like, cats especially are the darndest things. I think I had one dungeon where someone was like, wait, hold on a minute. I have to take my dog out real quick. I'm going to try to make it really fast, but I got to take my dog out. It's so nice to see that, especially after playing World of Warcraft, that the Final Fantasy XIV community is so understanding of that. And I do think, at least from my experience, most of the community that I come across with Final Fantasy XIV is a little bit older than what I experienced in World of Warcraft. But that demographic has probably all changed as far as World of Warcraft goes, just because, well, it's been a long time since I played World of Warcraft. Oh my goodness, yes. I can relate to that. I have a mesh chair too. And yeah, them trying to claw the back of the mesh chair, especially when they get closer to the bottom, it's like, no, I do not want your claws there. Like, please back off right now. Like, to help keep my cat from doing that while I'm on my computer now, like, I just recently redid my setup. I have a old computer tower cart, and at the top of it, I put a cat bed. And because I really thought one of my cats wanted to be on this on this computer tower. I'm calling it a cat tower already because Like now that's kind of its dedicated purpose, is to be a cat tower. And hey, Lethal, so glad you're here. Thanks for joining. But I put a cat bed at the top of this computer tower for my cat. Or, well, I have 2 cats, but I was like, either one of them. But especially the one that showed so much interest in that tower. And no, she's not here. She's not in here at all. I'm pretty sure she's snuggling my husband right now. Because all the fur babies, when he gets home, I'm pretty sure they're all snuggling him. But that's okay. I get to spend all day with them. So I'm like, I get it. I'm here all the time, all day. And you get to snuggle me all the time, all day, and all night if you want to. But I still get a little sad when they're like, no, we don't actively choose you right now. I'm like, no, choose me. Gotta love those fur babies, especially when they try to spoil everything. When I first started Final Fantasy XIV, my stream debut is going pretty well. I really wish I, like, it. So I used to teach, and I quit teaching in 2023, and I could tell just with my voice. I'm like, oh no, I already feel a little bit of strain in my voice. I used to be able to teach for 3 hours straight, nonstop talking. What's happening here? Why can I not do it now? It's not like I've taken off for the last 3 years of nonstop talking. Like, I should be able to talk all the time. But it is going great. How's your night going? I'm taking advantage of the lag that my stream currently has from when I actually talk to when it actually shows up to take some drinks of water. If you could lose something after not doing it for 3 years, not everything. Like, some things still come back to you no matter how much you try to not remember them. And you're just like, I would prefer my brain to not keep that skill or keep that memory. Like, I would prefer to forget about it. Pacific time-ish. Oh, after Pacific time, actually. Yeah, because Pacific time is 6 p.m. Yeah, that's a lot earlier than what it is for me right now. Because right now, for me, it is 9 p.m. And I could tell I had an energy drink because I'm more energetic than I normally am at 9 p.m. Normally at 9 p.m., I am totally like just huddled up in a fuzzy blanket playing Stardew Valley. and at that, it's a modded Stardew Valley, so I'm just throwing bombs at everything and running around and gathering the stuff that comes from all those bomb explosions. Oh yeah, I definitely can't do calculus off of the top of my head anymore. Like, it's been 12 years since I got my math degree, or my undergraduate degree in math, and it has been, oh wow, 9 years since I got my master's degree in computer science. And admittedly, I have done more coding since then, but calculus, it would definitely take me a minute to remember some of those things. Like, I definitely can't just do it without having to be like, okay, how do I do that again? Like, I would definitely have to refresh my memory a little bit on how to do some of the different computations and stuff. Like, trying to work with some of the more in-depth calculus stuff in particular, like some of the things that are more like differential, or not differentials, like doing some of the integrals and things like that. Like some of it is a little bit more fresh in my mind just because of teaching some pre-calculus topics, but I could still see where some of that might take a minute. Let's see. We're going to do some more Beast Trap quests now. And we'll do the crafting one. And while I do this crafting one, I'm not going to get any experience for it because all of my crafters are up to level 100. I did finally get all of my crafting and gathering gear made. I made all of my upgraded battle gear and everything. So the nice thing is that with my crafting and gathering, I can just focus on stockpiling my scripts and just getting up reputations. I like when I get to that part of not stressing out about needing to upgrade my crafting and gathering gear in particular. Because I feel like upgrading the crafting and gathering gear just gets so stressful, especially if you pull up something like Teamcraft and are like, okay, how many scripts do I need? Oh, I need 50,000 scripts. What the hell? Why do I need 50,000 scripts? And then it's like, oh, for this map, well, you also need 20,000 orange scripts on top of the 50,000 purple scripts that you need. And then it's like, okay, I'm just going to die on the inside a little bit. Yes, I do have my courtly lovers and crested gear. Yeah, it especially didn't help my script grind that I have been so absolutely horrible about doing my custom delivery quests. I've been horrible about doing a lot of things in this game since Dawn Trail came out. So, yeah. All right, NPC, guess what? Yes, I am pentamelding all of my my crafting gear. Aside from tools, I'm not about to pentameld all of those tools, but the armor pieces, yeah, those are all pentamelded on my crafting and gathering gear. I don't joke when it comes to my crafting and gathering gear. My battle gear, absolutely not. It is a lot of tacos for scripts. So many tacos. And it's like, I just want to eat all the tacos. I don't want to be turning those in for scripts. That is a good way to get around personal bad luck, is to be like, guess what? I'm going to have someone else do it for me. The bad thing is that I tend to be the person that other people ask to meld stuff, so that I always have to warn them. I'm like, just so you know, you might want to make sure you have a lot of that materia. And by a lot, I mean a lot, because I'm going to break all of it. And I know for anybody who is watching my crafting right now, I know I don't need quality all the way up to maximum. I am just making it that way because I can. My brain doesn't let me not do the maximum quality, especially when I have trained eye available. It's like, no, you have to have maximum quality. So I'm like, NPC, I don't care that you're not asking for high quality, or the fact that it can't even technically be made high quality. You're getting the maximum quality on this thing, and you will be happy about it. Yes. Be happy about it, sir. I think that was a sir. That's what I'm gonna go with. It is a habit. Like, especially the second that you see trained eye glowing, it's like, yep, Yep, just you have to use it. You see something glowing and it must be done. Especially when it's something that it's like it never glows. So the second that does glow, it's like, yep, this button, it's got to be pressed. Even though I wasn't even hitting trained eye directly, I was hitting a macro that I made that has trained eye as a part of it. But I was like, nope, this is glowing, so I'm going to hit that equals key, and I'm going to do that ability. It's just going to be done. It has to be. For a second, I thought that was... I was going to be like, hey, guess what? Another crate that must be carried. Oh, yay, something that has to be high quality. I will take something that has to be high quality over having to carry a crate up the stairs. I am happy about that. I will totally make this high quality. This will be the best quality, the greatest quality ever. They say that I make the best stuff, guys. Like, I make the best Yokoi handicrafts. There you go. High quality for you, sir. Or ma'am. Let's see. I'm like, I need their pronouns for this. Let's see. Where's this NPC at? Must have clicked on the wrong thing. I gotta go all the way over there. I do love that in one of my videos, I kind of complained, like, kind of passively, that all of the Heavensward beast tribes were, like, super stretched out and far apart from one another. And then there's this beast tribe that kind of tries to do this same thing to you by being like, hey, guess what? This is a large map, and this part of the quest is going to be all the way over here. You don't have or well, maybe there is a quick way to get over there. I'm sure there probably is, and I'm just not remembering that there's a quick way to get over there. And I end up just flying all the way over here, and then I remember how much flying I had to do for all those Moogles. Their dance was worth it, but I also do not miss all that flying from Heavensward for the Moogle tribe. Not a single bit of missing that. Oh yes, I have to poke you. I do like that they added in the interface on the quest list there. I could have clicked on that if I wanted to, as opposed to typing it in. It's just, once you've formed the bad habit, it's hard to break the bad habit. It's kind of similar for the people that were talking about how they would forget about the Vesper Bay Aetheryte tickets, and they would just teleport to Horizon and run over there and stuff. It's still a habit of mine to teleport to Horizon, even though I know about the Bolt and Lemensa, even though all of my alt characters have the envelope, the teleport there. I still forget about it, and I just teleport to Horizon and run over there. I cannot break that habit. It doesn't matter how much I know. The habit just got formed over a lot of routine. And I'm like, I really, really, really need to fix it. Yeah, I did it a decent amount on this character, but then eventually I got lazy, and then I made an alt. And with that alt, I was 100% lazy. And unfortunately, that alt was when they implemented the Vesper Bay tickets, so then I ended up with so many tickets that I didn't need any of those tickets. That's true. It totally is a rite of passage to do that. Like I said during the start of the stream, so you saw my chat there, I shouted somebody. I have a tendency to shout at my FC members when they log into the game. Can't help it. It can't be stopped. Let's see here. So, let's switch jobs here. Worldly ink. I don't think that's what I'm wanting. That's not what I'm wanting. It's actually looking for. I'm sorry for the awkward pause on my part. I am reading mentally myself. Oh no, that's a dungeon. I don't want that one. Let's see. So these are. So I also did not completely finish some of the. By some, I mean a lot of the quests that are here. I don't always do all of the side quests. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay. I was seeing if I had at least started the Gathering Beast Tribe, and I have not. So I'm going to look up real quick where to start that at. One. Without diving too far into it, I know I need to at least get to this zone, so I'm just going to teleport here. I know I had some tips as far as saving on teleport fees and everything. And you might notice that I go through teleports a little bit more haphazardly than what some people do. One of the reasons is that with my free company, we maintain reduced rates 3, which means that my teleport fees are reduced by 15%. So that helps me significantly as far as teleport costs. So like this teleport would typically cost a lot more. Like if I recall correctly, it's 100 or something like that. But it's going to cost me. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not 15%, it's 40%. So it's typically a 100 gil teleport, and it's going to cost me 60 gil instead. So for those higher costs, it's going to cost me less. Yeah, I sometimes do the side quest just so it makes less clutter there for a little while. At lower levels. Okay, so this is a war magic. Actually, it's grab Reaper for that one. But then after a while it became trying to declutter my map, but then I got tired of doing all the side quests and was like, I've got other things to focus on. Like if I've got a hunt train to go on, I would rather go on the hunt train than go do these side quests as a personal preference. Surprised. Remembering a frame. Let's see. So this quest starts with cultivating. Oh. I'm gonna do this side quest just to see if it, or see necessarily what it's going to unlock, or see if it potentially unlocks something. Ah, of course. Let's see if this potentially leads up to what I'm wanting. But at the very least, since it has the plus side, it should lead towards unlocking something. That's the goal. So as long as I unlock something, I'm happy. Oh, one of these days I will do my soul cell. And one of the reasons I'm being a little extra quiet is because it's been a hot minute since I mained Reaper, so I'm like, wait, what do my abilities do again? Like, I think it's been about 4 years since I was a Reaper main. Because in Endwalker, I ran Savage content in Endwalker. And I started the expansion as Red Mage. I spent a decent amount of time in Shadowbringers as a Red Mage. Like, after I got Ninja, Dragoon, and Dancer up to level cap, then I started leveling my casters, and I eventually fell in love with Red Mage and ended up becoming a Red Mage main. And then for Endwalker, I got A clear as a Red Mage, but then my static recruited a Red Mage, and I had to hot swap to Summoner because they only had Red Mage to level cap. And I had Red Mage, Summoner, and quite a few other jobs at that point to level cap. So I made the hot swap to Summoner. So that way I could still take advantage of some of the gear that I had already accumulated and already pentamelded, or like even some of the Tome and Savage gear that I'd gotten already had as far as caster gear goes, like take advantage of that. Like, I didn't want to start from square one during that tier. So then I swapped the Summoner, and then before the next tier, we were like, well, we could actually do with 2 melees instead of 2 casters. So I swapped from Summoner to Ninja, and then there was server issues. Like, the server tick was weird, and when you have a fast job like Ninja, server tick issues really mess up rotation. Like, I could not land my ninjutsu for anything with how bad the server tick was. So I had to swap to Reaper. And I played that for a while, and it was fun. But then once they fixed the server tick issues, then I swapped back to Ninja. It was a lot of switching jobs all over the place. And now I've made Viper. Oh, I'm over here, like, playing this cutscene. I apologize for anybody who is not wanting any sort of spoilers. I hope you missed the fact that there were some spoilers that were happening on the screen there. I don't think there was much of anything important. Because I was not reading what was happening on the screen. Let's turn this quest in. Let's see if it ends up actually unlocking something. Or at least leading to, hopefully, what I want to actually unlock. I'm guessing this is going to lead to something, at least. I know with some of the societies, like for instance with the Gathering Society and Shadowbringers, there's actually a pretty decent battle series that you have to go through first before you can unlock that one. And you should unlock that one. I like that one story a lot. It's a fun one. And we're going to skip that cutscene so that way we can try to avoid spoilers. Double check. Okay, I did flag myself as busy that way because now I have a whole bunch of FC members that are logging in and I'm being horrible about greeting them as they log in online. So I was like, I should probably make sure I have a busy tag on. That way they don't be seriously concerned that I'm not saying anything to them right now. Because they know if I have the busy tag on, typically I'm juggling a few things or I'm crafting. And especially if I'm crafting, I'm probably going to miss them logging in. Because they understand that typically if I am crafting, I am just running macros and not even looking at my screen whatsoever. Not looking at chat. Doesn't matter how many alerts I have. I could be alerted all day long. I'm not checking it. There's that glitter. Be a second to see it there. Oh, while I am doing this, something I do want to mention. So, Sunday is going to be I'm going to be making a new character for Sundays. I'm going through MSQ and trying to give some tips as I go through MSQ and everything. And I want to take input for where I should create that character. And so far, the suggestions I have received... Oh, this is not what I wanted, I don't think. No, it's not what I wanted. I'm over here going to the wrong place. But I want to get input for where I should create this new character. Because, well, I think that would be a fun thing for me to do, is just create my character wherever you guys want me to make that character. The thing is, though, is that the suggestions I have so far are all on Crystal. And it's not that I don't love Crystal. As you see, I'm on Diabolos with my main character. Most of my characters are on Diabolos. Most of my characters are on Crystal in general. But the only problem is that Crystal is flagged as completely congested right now. So I can't make my character on Crystal. So I also cannot make a character on Aether because Aether is also flagged as completely congested. Primal is not marked as completely congested, and Dynamis is marked as preferred plus. And then there are also, I could potentially do something on Oceania or some of the other servers. So, of course, think about it, but feel free to make a suggestion as to where you think I should make that character. Now, I am leaning more towards doing one of the preferred plus servers just because of getting the level boost and stuff, but I will make it wherever. Like, I don't mind. I have at least 3 alts that are an in-game Endwalker. I do not mind at all leveling with just no bonus. Hyperion sounds like a great place to go. I do like that. And yes, Aether is... Aether I feel like is always super congested. Aether has so many people. And I remember a time where Seraph on Dynamis was even considered congested. It was actually kind of wild to me when they when they decided to flag that one as congested. But also at the same time, I remember when Dawn Trail first dropped and all of Crystal was flagged as congested. And I was like, my login time for my alt on Seraph was longer than my login time for my main character here. Yes, the leveling buff is absolutely amazing. I remember having, it was road to 70 when I made this character and one of my alts. I absolutely love that buff. It is a really nice buff. Like, even when you consider leveling your crafters and gatherers, chef's kiss. It seriously makes leveling them so fantastic. And that was another diadem thing. I was burnt out from diadem. I don't know why I keep clicking on that spot. Like as though I'm going to click on my inventory and not on the quest list. Yes, it is chef's kiss. It is like I'm trying to remember. I know I did all of my characters I've created on Seraph all have had that buff. And one of them was actually a server transfer. I transferred one of my characters from Diabolos for free over there. And that's one of my characters that's an in-game Endwalker. And I got her a large house over there. That was why I transferred her over. But even with character transfers, you get that buff. So that's, I was like, it's so wonderful. But yeah, like you said earlier, like getting those cues, like, the queues are rough. And like, I get that people are like, oh, well, you just visit another data center and queue over there. And I'm like, that doesn't solve the problem. That feeds the problem. Yeah, I really need to do more of cosmic exploration versus doing more diadem. I really, really do. I've been horrible about doing cosmic exploration because I have friends that do a lot of cosmic exploration. They keep giving me the stuff from there, and then I feel less motivated to do cosmic exploration. I've been bad about it. There for a little bit, I felt a little extra motivated to do some of the diadem stuff just because I could trade in some of those scripts for some things for me making free company buffs. So that was a pretty good motivator. So the server I am on with my main character, I am on Diabolo. So Crystal Data Center, Diabolo server is where my main character is at. And we are talking about where I should potentially create my alt character for Sunday. Because the suggestions before today have all been Crystal Data Center. And Crystal is completely flagged as congested. So no new characters can be made on Crystal. And it's quite unfortunate. And all of my talking, I realized we watched that whole cutscene. My attention span is so great, you guys, in case you hadn't noticed. That was not the right button. That's what I get for misplacing my hand on my MMO mouse. As far as like my attention span goes, when I was teaching, I will say I didn't always, or very rarely did I lecture. Most of the time I was working more one-on-one or in small groups with my students. So the fact that my attention span was rather short was perfectly fine for that. Let's see. Okay, we need to talk to you. Let's talk to this next person over here. Hello, hello, hello. Hello! Talk to me. Yes, you're personable. Next person. Let's say you're going to be in a building. I just know it. I just know you're going to be in a building, because why wouldn't you be in a building? Yeah, I feel like my attention span, the older I get, the worse my attention span gets. Like, if only my attention span were just a little better. Okay, we talked all this. Yeah, and I find the older I get, so, like, I like to tease my mom a lot about things. And as I get older, I find that I'm constantly apologizing. I'm like, hey, you remember when I made fun of you for this before? Yeah, I get it now, because now I'm at that age where I can get it. And you would think I would learn my lesson, but no, I haven't. I was teasing her earlier because she wasn't getting around something I had baby-proofed. And I'm like, oh no. Oh no. I'm going to reach that age where I can't get around to things that are baby-proofed. And I will say, some things that are baby-proofed are really, really hard to get around. But some of them, I'm like, this isn't really baby-proofing, because the baby can get around it themselves. Like, who are we kidding here? And this was one of those things that it's like, oh man, my child could get around this. And my mom still struggles with it. And I'm like, oh no, I'm going to reach that age where I'm going to struggle with it. They really should be renamed to Human Proof when it's like, no one can get past this. Like there are some of the things that I'm like, oh man, there's no way I'm going to be able to fix these things to be more human-like again. At the moment, I do not play with the English, or I do play the English dub. I don't do the sub. But I have heard that I should swap to the Japanese voices with English sub, because like I've heard their voices are absolutely amazing. And I shouldn't be surprised, because with anime, I tend to play those with Japanese voices and then do English sub. And I just... They're amazing. They are such amazing voice actors. I really, really need to do that here. But I do feel like, particularly after A Realm Reborn, the voice actors get really good. Now, that's not to say the voice actors in A Realm Reborn are not good. I felt like that had a lot to do with some of the direction that they were given, because, like, plenty of those voice actors, you hear them in other things, and they are absolutely amazing. And then you get them in this game, and it's like some of them sound just so completely devoid of any emotion. I'm like, but in this game, you had so much emotion, so much range. And so it's like, okay, there's the potential that the direction was, let's dial it back, let's keep it low key. Yeah, I think a lot of people have been doing a lot of the Japanese stuff, and then they find that they're like, I'm not doing a lot of the MSQ content, because they've gotten so used to the subbed. Really, that was all of that questline? Okay, there's the Cultivating Hope. I had a feeling that questline had something to do with it. So I was like, this says this unlocks something. There's no way that it's only going to give me orchestrion rolls. There it is. That's the quest I really, really wanted to do. I'm only a little behind from 7.3. There we go. We are not popping that. I don't need that. Do not need to be using my priority aetheryte pass when I already have the exact same buff from Free Company that is going to be available to me 24 hours, so there's no need to be popping that. They do not stack. Like smash things, you get rocks. Yes, smash the rocks. You want to throw bombs at the rocks like I do in Stardew, go for it. Smash all of those rocks. Yay, cat aggro! Sometimes cat aggro is the best aggro to have. Okay, NPCs. Now that I've gotten past selecting the things on your dialogue. Okay, you're gonna make me continue. So, my first cat that I had, she was one that she always wanted to be held. It was something that I actually had to lay back in my computer chair, which my computer chair did not recline. But I always had to lay back, which was absolutely horrible on my back, so that she could lay on my chest and she would just lounge on my chest. When I would first get home from work, she would try to trip me until I would pick her up. Like, she always wanted me to hold her. And I was like, you are absolutely bizarre cat, because now with some of my cats, so I've got 2 cats, and one of them is kind of indifferent about being picked up. Like, she doesn't hate it, but she would kind of prefer you not. And the other one is like, get me down. I did not consent to this. Do not look at me. Do not touch me unless I come up to you and make it very, very, very clear that you are allowed to touch me. Because she is one that, like, because she is a tortoiseshell cat, and they are just so incredibly skittish to the point that it's like you can't even look at them. At least vast majority of the time, and then be aware of it without them getting just so ridiculously scared and running off. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, her anxiety has anxiety just by being looked at all the time. Oh, we're gonna quick gather this. I probably shouldn't have done that because I probably could have done with some of those crystals, but it is what it is. I already did it. Especially since the first black already gave me 2. I noticed too late. No! But yeah, the other cats, she's indifferent about being held. She's indifferent about most things, unless it's nighttime. Then she wants to be pet and be lovey and be purry, and because she's a black cat, so she's just like, oh, it's darkness, and I am the darkness, and I absolutely love the darkness. It is the absolute best. Love me. And daytime, she's just kind of like, it's the daytime. I don't care. I am not here to care. I only care when it is darkness time. And I think that with the other cat being the darkness, so we have a black blanket and a purple blanket. She definitely prefers the black blanket. And she disappears in the black blanket. I swear that's why, because black cats love to disappear in the black. Like they're just like, it's all darkness. I am surrounding myself in the darkness. I absolutely love the darkness. The darkness is me. I always thought that black cats were the sweetest too, up until my Torby. So she was a tabbied tortoise shell, and with everyone else she was very much more like a tortoise shell, where she was skittish, don't look at me and all that stuff. But with me and my husband, she was like, hold me. Like anytime my husband would go to leave the room, she would literally leap at him, and like it was just the biggest trust jump ever. And she's like, I'm gonna jump and you better catch me. And he would just completely expect him to catch her, and he would. Every time he would catch her, and she'd just start purring so loudly. And like she would climb all over my shoulders and just purr, like headbutting my head, my face. Like she was just so ridiculously and absolutely cuddly and lovey. I loved her so much. And then she passed away a few years ago from a kidney failure, and then we adopted the 2 that we have right now, and I love them both too as well. They are just not quite as affectionate. I think they would be more affectionate if I had adopted both of them at the same time. That could be why my tortoiseshell is a little bit more like, please don't look at me. Oh, I did not learn my lesson. I meant to turn off the quick gathering. No! Oh well, I will save those extra ones I gathered for another day, because I'm sure they will ask for more another day. It will just save me from flying out here and grabbing more of these whenever that day comes. It's just going to clog my inventory until then. But anyway, I also think those cats would be more lovey if we didn't have a dog. And I absolutely love my dog, but she is so extremely overprotective. It's kind of ridiculous how overprotective she is, because she thinks it is her duty to bully the cats away and keep the cats away from us. And it's like, no, the cats are your sisters. They deserve love too, just like you do. And after a couple years, she still hasn't figured that out yet. No, we need you to know this. We need you to know that all the love must be spread to all of you. But if she's asleep and just doesn't realize it, which is another reason why my black cat likes the darkness, then she'll let the other 2 in. Yes, here you go, sir. Here's the sacks that you needed. And here's the bark that you needed. You know what, Taserface? I'm just gonna withdraw you. Because at this point, you're just in the way. As usual, Taserface. Alright, so there's those societies done! And I almost forgot to mark that on my Wondrous Tales for the front line that we did earlier. All of that crazy fun chaos that was. Great chaos. And if I had any retry points, I could use the retry and do another front line tomorrow or something if I want to, but I'm not going to do that. Let's see, is there anything that's a little less spoilery? Most of those are going to be pretty spoilery. Trying to, I don't really ever get to do rival wings. I did it some during one of the tome events a while back. But I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember very much of it. It was something that I had... I was pregnant at the time. And it was one of those things that I definitely had some major pregnancy brain going on during the entire thing. Like, I know I was there and I know what happened. But I couldn't tell you anything that happened. I don't remember any of it. And... I'm just like, yeah. I was basically just another body in that PvP match. That's all I can say. Like, my brain was just like, no, you're not here. Now that you say big robots, I kind of remember the big robots. I kind of remember them being a thing. Only kinda though. Like I remember that there were big robots, and then I think there were things that you could control, and I tried to control them one of the times, and I got yelled at because I had no idea what I was doing. So it was something where it's like, yeah, I definitely shouldn't have been doing that. Like, I was like, okay, this is a different world than Frontline. This is not quite the same thing. It's so different. I can't just click on this and it be like, oh, it's actually not as important to be doing that. Or, oh, hey, you just stand in this ring and you claim this. It was like, no, you must actually, like, do certain things and use these different abilities. Like, you have to actually pay attention to certain things. Oh, I forgot I do have some things to turn in my Grand Company. Yeah, it was one of those things that I was like, I know I did horrible. And it was one of those things that, like, you could tell that an event was happening. That was the reason so many people were doing it, because, like, people were getting very angry and very mad at everyone else. And it's like, come on. No, so many of us had to visit another data center because, like, there's not a whole lot of rival wings happening over here on Crystal. I think I want to say we had to visit Primal in order to even queue up for it. And you could tell that there were some people who actually did it more regularly than, say, people like me who had no idea what was happening. And those of us who had no idea what was happening were ticking everybody else off because they're like, no, that is not how this works. And I went back to an into my glamour dresser. Dang it. I want to go to the Grand Company. So I can turn in those ruby tide weapons that I don't need. Yeah, that's what That's what I was remembering was Primal is typically the one that does PvP. So I was like, I'm pretty sure we went to Primal. It's also around the same time that I was still running Savage content. So we kept having to go to Aether because we had some members that were having a little bit of an iffy time with their schedule. So it was inconsistent as to whether we had our full static. So sometimes we had to party finder for some more people. And we had an easier time finding people for Party Finder when we went over to Aether. So it's like I was going to Aether for that, then I'm going over to Primal for PvP. Yes, it is so easy to have the brain jump around. Because my brain, like, it's like I could prep, and I do tend to prep to the point that I'm like, I rehearse the conversations in my head so ridiculously much. But after a certain point, my brain is like, I have forgotten everything that was prepped. So now we just wing it. And I'm like, and then afterwards, I'm like, that is not at all what was prepped. Why did that just happen? Yeah, I might. Yes, exactly. And like, I try to tell my brain that prepping only gets me so far, but I'm also like, I ridiculously over prep for everything. And then sometimes I'm okay with it just all implodes in my face. But then other times I'm just like, what the hell? I prepped so much for this and it did not go the way that I planned it. And I just pout all day about it. And I'm like, no, I don't need to be pouting about this. There's so many worse things that could be happening than that. Yes, I do, especially when you're running Dungeons and Dragons. Like, I know I don't know that I could ever be a Dungeons and Dragons game master because I know my attention span. Not only could my attention span not handle it, but my ability to just over prep and need to over prep, and knowing that so much of that over prep would go to waste. I'm just like, I couldn't do it. I would get too upset about it, and then I'd be like, no, why can't you all do exactly what I prepped for you to do? Because I know the people I would play with, and they would never, ever, it doesn't matter what I'd actually prepped for them. They would not do what I actually intend for them to do. And I actually did intend to, speak up my ADHD, I did intend to walk away from them because I'm debating, I might try to do a little bit of the synthesis with some of my stuff here. Yeah, that's how teaching was for me. I found that when I taught, when I prepped a whole bunch of stuff, it would never go my way. And so I had to learn how to improvise a lot, especially when I was teaching less lecture. Like when I taught completely lecture, of course everything was going to go how I wanted it to go. But it was rare that I was lecturing, and I didn't like lecturing. And so then I tended to just go more with the flow. And it went so much better by doing that. Oh, right. Like, I hate when that happens with desynthesis, and that's why I'm like extra anxious about trying to desynthesis right now. And I'm like, I'm probably just going to leave those items in my inventory for now, because I'm like, I am sure that I am going to end up desynthesizing something that I don't actually want to desynthesize. Like, that just sounds like a bad idea. And that's why I typically don't go through this menu, because I'm more likely to mess it up if I'm in this menu because I tend to get in a groove and just go down the list and just desynthesize the crap out of everything. And then I'm like, no, that was an armor pace that I actually had set. Like, I don't want to be desynthesizing any of those courtly items. And with that, I am going to start closing up stream here. So we've had a couple votes for Sunday to go to, like, we had one that was going for Hyperion as far as my new character on Sunday goes. And then we were talking a little bit about taking advantage of the Preferred Plus that's happening on Dynamis. So if any of you are like, you know what, I have another idea for the new character on Sunday, of course, feel free to drop those in the comments on any of my videos. And also, yeah, like, you can feel free to drop that in the Discord server or even show up on Sunday and be like, hey, I think you should make this new character on this server. And I am totally flexible as far as that new character. And then also what we did discuss, I'm going to be open and be like, you know what? I will roll as whatever class you want me to. Even if you're like, I want you to play a tank, I will get over any tank anxiety. Like, I will do it. I will play a tank. It might not be the smoothest tank ever, but I will totally do it. And honestly, even some of the healing, I've gotten rusty on healing. Like, I feel like the only groove I have is on Sage for my healing. Like, I feel like that's one that I can usually pick back up pretty quickly, but Sage is also not one that you can start with. But I am open to just about anything when it comes to my starting server and my starting class on Sunday. So feel free to let me know what you think and what you vote for. If you don't care, I will roll with whatever and just make what I'm just feeling down with at the moment. But feel free to follow me on my socials. If you're not in the Discord yet, you could type !Discord in the chat and it will give you the link to the Discord server. Feel free to join the server to keep the conversation rolling. But I was going to try and raid the stream elsewhere. I haven't, like, I was like, I've never, like, this is my first time doing any of this kind of stuff. So I was like, I have no idea how to raid, but I know that I don't have the viewer count for raiding to another stream. So I was going to raid you guys out. But I also know that, like, YouTube, you have to have like 1,000 followers or something like that. I have that on TikTok, not on YouTube though. But anyhow, I hope you all have a wonderful, fantastic night. Thank you all so much for joining. I have had an absolute blast tonight. I've loved talking with all of you, and I hope to see you all again on Sunday. Take care, everybody. Have a great night, as I said.